Season 3 of Strangers in the Alps, a movie podcast, where every week, well, actually, we're changing it up this time. Every month,
Dan might actually like these movies.
we're going. Well, that's yet to be seen. If the first movie's any sign of it, I'm not sure that's true.
Oh my!
Oh my God.
No, I'm kidding.
Coming in hot.
So we're gonna change it up a little bit this season. We're gonna do themes.
I'm out of here. They kicked me out.
I am not doing that.
They kicked me out.
Every month, we'll change up the themes. We'll do movies of similar themes. Anyone want to sort of jump in to further explain what I'm talking about?
A curated series.
A curated series to tease. We'll do some creature features, something about school. It's mostly horror movies, but to just help Dan and his mental state, we'll sprinkle in some non-horror movies as well.
Oh, that's so cool. And speaking of which, my name is Dan.
My name is Travis.
I'm Sam.
I'm Frank.
Ooh, Frank.
And we are Strangers in the Alps, a movie podcast.
Don't worry, Dan. We're going to do Made in Manhattan for you.
Oh, cool. I don't know what that is.
The wedding planner.
Frank, can you explain why
Don't you
we're
dare.
now
We've gone
here?
digital.
Why there's
Like
physical?
For real?
Yeah. Why are we here on Earth?
There was a rumor going around
Frank. Wow,
that
I didn't
Dan
know.
was doing all these voices by himself.
Yeah, and it was mostly true, but
He finally
we
hired
just-
us.
Yeah.
I just need
We're
faces.
paid actors.
So I'm just sitting here moving my
So
lips.
again, the reason why we decided to go
To up it up.
to picture as well as sound.
Well, it kind of started out. I wanted to do Sam Cam
Mm-hmm.
because there are a lot of moments where Frank's like, "Wow, Sam's face" in reaction to the one and only
Travis's
Travis.
mouth.
Yeah,
Hey, you can point now, and they'll know what you're talking about.
that's you.
And you can pick your nose now, and we'll all get to see it.
And Lenny's getting larger. See, there we go. There's the face.
There it is.
Yeah.
Whoop.
we no longer have to say, "Wow, Sam is just
And
staring
we've made
at
back
us."
our investment
And
already.
now I can say I dressed up for this podcast, and it's not a joke anymore.
Finally, his
We
jokes
prefer you
work.
with clothes on. I just want to tell you that now. Okay,
I can just
so
go like
this is
this.
fun. Let's get started with our new theme. This
Which
month's
is?
theme is
Summer. Camp.
Oh, summer camp. I forgot.
Summer camp.
Ma'am.
Strangers go to camp.
And Travis, I know you aren't ready, but do you have a back of a VHS tape? Which now, of course, we're going to see
No,
her reading
wow,
off
you
your
just-
phone.
Hold on. It's oh, wow. This VHS tape is slightly out of frame.
oh, nice. Can you read the back of your
VHS tape.
digital VHS tape?
Instant VHS.
And then we'll all guess what the movie is. I guess we should know, though, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm cool.
Is
Oh,
it
yeah.
Batman?
So
I'm Batman.
here we go. Are you all ready?
We've been
I
ready.
can't
Now
wait.
everyone's
I can't
staring
wait.
at me, and everyone knows.
I can't wait for you to pronounce the directors' names.
I
Go
can't
ahead.
wait for you. All right. Teenager Davy Armstrong is a conspiracy theorist who begins to suspect that a neighboring police officer is a serial killer. With help from 3 friends, Davy launches a daring investigation that soon turns dangerous.
That's good.
Fair.
That's a good launching point.
Do you
Yeah.
want? You do want
And
me
the
to?
name of the movie is.
Summer of '84.
And who directed it and wrote it? I think they both wrote and directed.
Oh yeah. Okay, I can tell you.
It's 4 guys.
Yeah, and they
Took
go.
4 guys to pull this one off.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna cheat my way out of this. Roadkill Superstars is the name of their troupe directing.
Yeah, I saw that on the credits.
What's it called?
I thought
So
that was-
Dan, what are the members? Who are the
Roadkill
members?
Superstar.
well, I don't have
of,
it memorized.
I have it right here. Who are the members?
Oh, you're talking about Francois Simard, Anouk Wissel, and Johan Carl Wissel.
Where's
But that's
Camille
only 3. Where's the 4th
when we need
person?
her?
There's
You know what? Let me call her right now.
Imagine just call her and be like, "Hey, can you just say these?"
and
things
they
for
are
me?"
known for also writing and directing the film. Well, directing the film and writing. I was right.
Okay.
Turbo Kid from 2015.
Another movie I've never heard of. You know what's interesting? Before I watched the film, I actually looked up to see what was rated, because when you look up the rating of a movie, for me, it tells me a lot about what I'm about to watch. Like if it's a slasher and it's rated R, I know it's going to be graphic. If it's a slasher rated PG-13, I know it's not. This movie has no rating
It wasn't rated.
Yep.
because
Oh,
I
really?
don't think it was released.
It was. Okay, so this.
They said it was equivalent to PG-13.
This film
Which it is.
premiered. Well, it had its premiere
Yeah.
at Sundance in 2018, and then it got I guess because it was a small film, picked up Sundance, didn't get a major release, and I think probably it not being rated, it got like a very small, which means it probably played in like one theater in like LA for like a day and a half.
Down at the Lemley in Encino?
No, I was gonna say, no, yeah, Alamo Drafthouse wasn't there at this time. But you know what happened when I looked up this movie, Dan?
No,
I saw Bryan Adams.
Okay.
That would have been summer of '69, though.
Okay, so
That was funnier in my head. I wasn't gonna say it
I
like
mean,
that.
that's like most things you say.
and
so
you
I
can
mean,
see
that's fine.
all of our reactions now. So
I was gonna start
what
reading
were
the
our
lyrics.
pre-thoughts?
Oh.
Let's go around. I still like the pre-thought. Did we still do the
Absolutely,
pre-thought?
yeah.
I will start.
That'll stay.
I
Yeah.
had no pre-thought. The only thing I never heard of the movie. I know that Travis selected the movie because he told me that.
Half true.
So I didn't know. When the movie started rolling credits, that's when I looked up to see what it was rated. And when it said it had no rating, but it was equivalent to a PG-13, I kind of went, okay.
Did you
This is
what,
gonna be
the
probably not too
poster
graphic.
that you saw? It's a milk carton with a skull on it.
I saw a couple different posters. I saw the skull,
Yeah.
and I saw the milk carton.
Did you think, was that any precursor to like what you could potentially be in store for, or it just
Probably.
never really?
I think the milk carton probably was a better
Did it
precursor than the
set
skull.
the era?
Skull didn't really.
Did you see
the
the
Yeah.
skull just made it look like it was like some kind of haunted.
Goonies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Your favorite movie, Goonies.
Did you see the movie before? Did you see the poster before the movie or after?
I saw it. Well,
You
whatever
had
that
to see it
card is, it
before.
comes up when you.
when you click
Oh, on
play.
like on Shutter. Oh no, because you said some different posters.
Yes. So, the one I think that was up on where I watched the movie was
On
the
Shudder?
skull. I think.
Or Voodoo. I don't know.
And then I think I saw the milk carton one when I actually looked up the movie afterwards.
Okay.
Because then I also started reading about the movie after I saw it, and I have one little thing I'll read to you later when we get to that part. But yeah, I didn't really have a lot of pre-thoughts. I didn't really know what it was about.
I'm on video now, so I gotta look intellectual.
Yeah.
I'm like,
My guy.
Oh my God, it's called being
rather
fake.
That's rather shallow and pedantic.
Okay, those
This
are my
was a mistake.
pre-thoughts.
Yeah.
Travis,
Take it
Dan,
down.
your thoughts?
See, you changed your pre-thoughts
No, I
before.
didn't.
You said, I looked up the movie to see the equivalent, so that was part of your pre-thoughts. No, but then you said it was after. Anyways, so
no, I looked up to see what it was rated.
I
I
know.
did do that
so
before.
so my pre-thoughts were, so this is where you're half right. At one point, I said we should do this movie, but I didn't select it for this week. It just made it onto a list.
It doesn't matter which
I know.
week.
He has, he
You're
has to
all
tell you
right.
his side
You
of the story.
picked this movie.
Okay, so my can you stop interrupting me? So my pre-thoughts were, I had actually seen the other film Turbo Kid, and when this movie premiered on Shudder, I saw the poster. I think it was the poster with the skull. It was one of them, and I said, "Oh, that looks kind of cool." So then I watched it.
Cool.
Is that the end of your? Oh my gosh.
That's great. How about you, Sam?
What a
Let's
story,
just-
Mark.
Let's
Wow.
leave it. Let's leave it. Let's move
Right.
forward.
We don't
let it-
acknowledge it. We
And
don't
then-
acknowledge it. You're right.
It's
Don't
done.
let
It's
You're
done.
right. You're
Hold
right.
on, let me get in Sam's frame real quick.
It was a quarantine watch for me. It was
Okay.
on Shudder, and I think he told me about it. Or we talked about this in the car. I watched it on Shudder, and then I told him about it, and he's like, "Oh, I've seen it."
We think.
We think that's how it went, but it was a quarantine watch for me.
Okay, cool.
That's great.
How about you, Frank? How many times have you seen this movie, Frank?
This was my first time.
I love that.
I-
The last.
My
never-
first time too.
Yeah.
It was
never
both of our
forget.
first times, Frank.
You never
Together.
forget.
You don't forget your first time.
The smell of the leather in the back seat.
Oh.
Of the cop
Now you're
car.
singing. Now you're singing. Now
Of
he's
the-
hey, Dan.
In the
Now he's
cop
singing.
car.
Now he's singing the Brian. Up until the cop car, I was like, now he's singing the Bryan Adams song.
Yeah, I've seen. I think I've seen the name pop up before, but never. I was never interested enough by the name or the premise to like really jump in. It definitely gave me Stranger Things vibes.
Oh, heavy
Yeah,
duty.
agreed.
So
I mean,
after having watched
is this
it,
the
yeah.
cast of Stranger Things? Is this the cast of
It could be like a Kmart version of like Stranger Things.
Goonies?
Kmart?
I was
Is
gonna
this
say.
the cast of Sandlot?
Come on, this movie's
Is
not.
this the cast of Stand By
mean,
Me? Is this
yeah.
the cast of It?
It's
I mean,
the, like-
all those movies just kept going through my head
it's the
while I was watching
80s,
this movie.
Yeah.
80s.
No, but
It was
I
the
know it's
inverse
set
of
then,
but
that.
all
the
Oh,
movies
we
I just
have that at
named were
home. It
from
was
the-
like
pretty much
no,
in the
it's
80s.
at the store.
Yeah. Wait, do you have anything else to add?
No, that's it.
Did one of the guys look familiar to you guys?
Yes. And I couldn't. I
Which
couldn't
one?
put a
Eats.
finger on it until
Eaton.
I looked it up.
Which one was he?
The punk looking one with the leather jacket.
The one with the parents were
Yeah.
yelling
Yeah.
and screaming at each
Mhm.
other? Who is
Do you
he?
he was from the Babysitter's Club. No, the Babysitter.
the babysitter.
My Babysitter. What's the movie called?
the sitter.
The babysitter.
Babysitter.
Who did he play?
The main
The kid. Yeah.
Oh, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he was also in Suitable Flesh.
right, because
Yes.
that would have been
Yeah,
earlier.
Traumatic,
That would have been
very traumatic childhood.
Yeah,
This kid-
both in personal and
Yeah,
in,
this
on the film.
person's very.
It
That's
was
the type
just
of movie he
Those
goes
four
for.
characters. It's just okay. We got to have the overweight guy.
You got the
we
over-
gotta
you
have
got the overweight kid
the
from
nerdy
Bad-
guy.
you
We
got
got to
the-
have the cool guy who's breaking all the rules. And then you have your main character who literally looks like every one of those guys from every movie I just
You're-
named. He looks like the kid in It. He looks like the kid
Yeah.
in Stand
He was
By Me.
Will
He
from
looks like all.
Stranger
it's
Things.
like they oh
Literally.
yeah, he looks like those
Literally.
guys. Let's cast him.
The word you're thinking of is tropes.
Yeah, I want to talk about tropes a little bit.
Okay,
at some
talk
point.
about tropes.
Well,
You're troping,
this
bro.
movie, you're troping him, man. This movie, and that's really not just this movie, but sometimes I feel like tropes becomes an excuse to not have an original idea.
I
Well,
can
it's a
see that.
trope. That's why we had to do that, because that's what we do in these movies. They need to reinvent the slasher movie, not the thriller, the slasher movie, the creature movies. Somebody needs to climb outside of the box and create a new style.
Yeah.
Because it's getting really,
You know what?
really.
It's a
tough.
fine line.
I mean, you look at the Wolfman
Yeah.
trailer, for example. You could have just changed the title to Evil Dead 6, and I would have gone, okay, I don't know. I mean,
Or you could have just said it's Wolfman.
they
Another Wolfman movie.
but they all look the
You know-
same.
you know-
everything's doing the same.
You know what I think we need a refresher of too, Sam?
You could
Frank?
just say shit.
Dan-
Yeah, okay, good. Thanks.
Dan, you know what we
You're-
need a refresher of too?
Get the name
Mm.
right.
I'm just gonna get it out real quick.
Sam
I feel
Dan.
like what other
Sam and Frank.
genre we really need a refresh from is action films.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like ever since John Wick came out, every single movie with an action just it's John Wick.
Yeah.
It's the same style of combat, which was cool in John Wick, but I'm like, even that movie, what was it, that Nicolas Cage vampire movie that came out?
Renfield.
Renfield turned into like from the
Yeah, I
turned
didn't
into
see
John
that.
Wick.
But think about it. You could
Did you
turn
watch
on.
Renfield?
I heard it wasn't good.
I could blindfold you.
Yeah, it was
It didn't
really
have
good.
any. It didn't have any.
Renfield?
ju-
Or
Yeah.
who
it
was
when
in
they
it?
were in the when they
Oh,
were
that's the
when they
one
were in
with
the
what's his name?
bar, it was
Nicholas
like, oh,
Hoult.
it's coming.
And
or
it was
whatever.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, but it's not the whole movie.
Nicolas Cage
Oh.
and Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah.
And it was
But
good.
I'm saying
was actually
I'm not,
really
no,
good.
no. I don't mean the whole movie. I
That's
just
cool,
mean
we should watch
when
it.
there's fighting in movies
Might be on
where
the
it's
list.
not the main focus.
You
But-
haven't seen the movie.
So what
so
I
you
was
can't
going to
say
say though, but like John Wick, and you're absolutely right. If I blindfolded you and took you to the middle of any John Wick movie, you wouldn't know which movie you were watching.
I would.
I don't know, man. I think I could find an action scene where you go, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Just unloading bullets, baby.
Literally.
And they never unload.
No, he
You-
reloads. That's why John Wick was cool because he actually reloads.
After like 70 or 80
No,
shells.
he has a clip. But okay, so go
He's
on,
such
Dan.
like a hetero
So you're talking about
male.
you're talking about tropes.
Thank you.
But-
I take no insult to that. Go ahead.
But no, and I always feel like that's where I think two movies fall flat, like especially when they're playing by the book too much because they say, "Oh, we have to do it for here. We have to do it this way because it's the way it's done." But I think it should just be like, what do you
what are we
want to
talking
see? Oh, we're talking about like how he
Are
was.
we talking
saying-
about John Wick?
No, we're talking about 80s movies and slashers.
Oh,
I'm just
okay,
talking
we're
about
back.
the
Okay.
genre. I'm just
We
talking
can
about
jump in
the
now.
genre.
Or just the
But
genres.
We don't,
I'm
need
like-
we don't need to stay
No.
focused on it. It just starts hitting me. I go, man, this is just trope. It's like it's such
It's
a
boring.
It's like, oh, I had to do that. Well, no, you don't. I'm
Yeah.
bored
Well,
and
well,
sick
that's
of
what I'm
seeing all
saying,
these
Dan.
tropes.
Dan, I'm saying
Because
that-
I'm so far ahead of these things
What we
now.
should get more is what, as like, if I'm writing the movie and like I said, I have these tropes, I would be like, what do I want to see? Where do I want to see this go? What is interesting to me? Instead of just being like, no, I can't go outside of this box.
It felt right. It felt like they kind of restricted themselves because, like I said, I feel like tropes are such a fine line that once you kind of teeter off just a bit, it just falls into a trope within itself, and
I
it just
agree.
becomes very, very cheesy. And I think that's what you're experiencing.
Yeah. Well, you think about like the first Scream, and that first movie really broke new ground.
Yeah.
It changed the slasher film. But then it became a caricature of itself after a while. Because it got trapped. What is that? Oh,
Someone just sent me
there
that
we go.
photo
Did
when
you
you
see
said
the bang?
screen.
that's funny.
Yeah. Thank you, Ivan.
Anyway, I don't want to keep focused. Let's talk about this movie.
But
that we
okay,
saw.
but when you okay,
You
but,
just did.
No. But we can't.
And we're
Dan,
done.
do you feel
well,
like
no, I haven't really gotten into the
this,
movie yet.
This
Oh,
won't
no.
tell you your overall final thoughts on the movie. But do you think
It really
this
isn't.
movie fell too much into its tropes? Do you feel like it could have been? Do you think it could have been a better? Do you think it became a victim of its own tropes? Trying to stay
I don't know that
within
I
the
would
80s.
term it that way. I mean, I was.
Do you think it
gonna-
limited?
I was going to talk about tropes, but I think in this movie, yes. I guess if we're going to use the term tropes, yes, because this movie just reminded me of so many movies I've already seen, and part of it is just the trap of coming of age boys getting together. They're kind of outcasts. You know, they're
Yeah.
not really. You know, they're not really cool, and then they get involved in an adventure. So, I mean, it's such a. And it's no fault of anyone's. It's just a really unoriginal idea.
No, I get
Now-
what you
I mean,
mean.
I mean approach. Now the story itself. I mean, we could talk about that.
Yeah.
I think.
You know, I
but
think the story
because-
has merit for sure.
And that's where it differs from me because I'm saying, for me, yeah, while I think it's a movie, you know, it's very obvious. You see its inspirations. I think with some of its storytelling elements, especially the ending,
well, I have a lot of issues
I
with
think
the
it
ending.
separates itself.
Spicy.
I think it. Yes, the ending definitely separated itself, but we'll get to the ending later.
When we get to the ending.
Yeah, and I'll reach you some things that other people.
Yeah,
felt about the
I
ending.
thought Act 1 was very boring.
Well, it's 32 minutes where anything happens.
I kind of
He
zoned in and
clocked it.
out.
32
Yeah.
minutes. Well, I always do. I'll always stop and see, like, the first. And this was really nothing more than just a kid being
Right, it's
captured.
an
It
hour
really wasn't really
35.
an action sequence.
Yeah, so it spent a good quarter of it.
Yeah, 32
On
minutes.
setting up-
The first act of the movie was very long.
Yeah, and I watched it again. I watched it once before, so seeing it again, I actually forgot most of it. So watching it back, I'm like, yeah, this is such like a long setup that like I don't really. It can definitely be cut down to 10 minutes for sure.
Yeah, there was a point where you know that scene where he sits down to have like his breakfast and he sees the milk carton.
Yeah.
Like the build up to that is so like stretched out for no reason that it made me question how much of that first act would end up being important to the movie.
Yeah, you can start
Spoiler
right there.
alert. Not really important.
Really?
You could start at that
also-
breakfast table in
Yeah.
that scene right there.
That-
I agree.
yeah.
Also, I found it, and maybe I missed something. I did want to bring this up, but I found like immediately, this kid was like spying out his window with his binoculars. He's seeing stuff that doesn't seem like anything outside of you. You're just kind of a voyeur because you're not seeing anything that should tell you anything, except what are you doing, man? So that was weird. It's like that whole first scene going down the basement. It tried to make it all feel weird and
Oh, with the
creepy,
neighbor?
but there was nothing
Yeah.
to support any reason to find any of this weird or creepy.
Yeah.
Nothing. So
Well-
it was odd. The whole
Well-
setup of the movie was odd.
Yeah, I feel like it could potentially play up to maybe what the kid was thinking more so than our perspective.
I
I
was
think
more
we
like
needed
what-
something to happen.
but it wasn't clear.
early
I-
to give us
That
to get
action wasn't
launch
clear,
us. in.
yeah.
I think it just kind of, when you have seen the whole film, I think it kind of ties into the.
Oh wait, I was supposed to watch the whole thing.
No.
Yeah.
It's with the whole thing.
We didn't tell
It's
you?
kind of just where it's when, you know, you're a kid, you're looking for the adventure, you're looking for the mystery, you want something to happen. You're like, oh, what if this happened?
Right.
And then it's like getting hit with the reality of like, oh shit, like what if this actually did happen? Now that you're in it, you don't want to be in the situation, you know? So I think that's the whole thing. He was just a kid. He was looking for the adventure. He was looking for the mystery. Because it's like I said, it's this like 80s suburban, nothing happens. So I think in his mind, he's trying to find something to happen.
Right, that opening voiceover while he's riding his bicycle and throwing papers, I think it's supposed to set you up with, well, there's something really bad's gonna happen.
Well,
it
that's
didn't land.
Well,
It didn't
they,
It
land
was
for me at
cheesy.
all.
Yeah.
They kind of do the whole wraparound at the end where they,
Yeah.
But you just
Again,
think
I
overall
was
it
supposed
did,
to watch the whole movie.
you just think overall it didn't work.
You didn't
I
get
just,
the-
I just didn't get nothing hooked me in that
Yeah.
first 30 minutes.
It took a second to
Yeah, I mean,
kinda
once
get
they
you.
were on the adventure, once they started, and we're aware, okay, something is going on. So and they started doing the little spy and going into the house and going. Once all that stuff started happening, you get obviously you're more interested because there's that whole suspense aspect to the story.
Yeah.
But I made a note about halfway through the movie saying I am going to be so disappointed if Mackie is actually the killer.
Okay.
Because I needed a twist or two. Even if it ended up coming back
Yeah.
on him, there were no twists. There was nothing that guided us in any other direction. There was no sense of
No red
anything,
herring.
No red herring, nothing. I'm sorry.
No.
That's
When I watched it, okay, so essentially I watched it originally podcast and then recap because we had a week in between where we were supposed to actually film this. But
Made you watch it twice.
thank you so much. So I forgot. So I kind of did a recap, and I'm thinking like, the second time I watched it, I'm like, okay, it's too obvious that he's the killer, and I'm just like, you guys didn't do the red herring or anything. It wasn't a good job at like throwing you off the track. But then doing the recap today, I'm thinking, what if they did it like that, in order to build that last act and make it different?
That's exactly. I agree with you 100% on that.
But then at the same time, I'm like, I don't think it's worth it.
I don't know why you couldn't have done both.
Exactly.
You didn't.
So
need
as
to
a
not
way
do
to,
that
like-
for the end of the
That's a weird.
third act.
I don't know.
Yes.
Period.
But
yes.
Frank,
agree.
or just anyone, did any of you ever have the like growing up or anything now, like you kind of had like,
I never wanted to spy on my neighbors.
well, no, I'm saying kind of like, okay, like in the movie like Home Alone, you know how like there's like the old man and they're like, oh, it's this like scary old guy, but at the end he's just really this nice guy, and everyone has all these like rumors. But
Yeah, that's a trope.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but I think it's just the like, oh, like the kids all have it, and then it's just like, no, that's like really the reality of the situation.
Yeah, but even then, Mackie wasn't even scary to begin with.
No.
Yeah.
If he was scary, I feel like it would have been better. It would have been like, oh, he's scary, and then the main kid went to the basement. That's scary.
Again, I would have
Spying
been,
on him, scary.
Yeah, I would have been okay if it had ended up being him. I would have been way more interested if there would have been a twist to throw me off the
But
path.
it's-
Yeah.
Put me some another direction. Cast more doubt in my mind. Because
But all the signs were there.
Yeah, there's just nothing.
Honestly, what they should have done is the lead boy should have gone missing after he helped him, and then had the friend group.
Fine.
Fried.
Yeah.
That would have been a more interesting
I
setup for
agree.
me than just continue with this whole like, oh, this
You
kid.
don't believe me.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know. If we were to not change anything else, I think that would be more interesting.
I did like that they set him up as like a potential
Conspiracy.
Conspiracy theorist.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was funny.
I mean, they should have done more with that.
Yeah.
There-
Yeah.
I feel like
guess.
this is gonna end up being like another chopping mall where the opinions
No,
are
I
definitely
thought
gonna
about
be
Shopping
ones that-
Mall. This movie is
I think Chopping-
miles ahead of
I think Chopping
Mall.
Mall. I think a
This was
majority
a-
of us outright just hated it.
Yeah, this
What
was.
do you-
Oh, I don't.
In
I-
what sense is it like? What do you mean chopping?
No.
What I mean is that there's gonna be a very clear like fan of the movie,
From the
and
get-go,
the rest
yeah.
of us
You
are
don't
gonna
know,
be
I-
like,
you
There's
don't
going
know
to be
if
a
I-
very clear. I like this movie.
You don't know if I like this movie. You have no idea.
Dan's gonna give it a 4.9.
Well, I will tell you something. I will never suggest we watch a movie that I don't like. Never gonna happen.
You're never gonna suggest movies that you don't like.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm never gonna say, "Oh, let's all watch this movie." I can't stand it. Why would I do
I
that?
can't stand it.
Well, here's the thing, Dan, where I'm going to disagree slightly. For sometimes, like, if I don't necessarily, like, I can say, like, oh, I didn't really like it, but if for me, there's something to discuss, or there's something about it, or, like, you might get, like, me personally, then it's like, okay, I will still recommend it. But if we're talking movies, like if you're telling me to watch, like, I don't know, McKell's Navy with Tom Arnold, I'm like, I'm not watching that.
How about Down Periscope?
I've seen that. I was just watching it
The
like
movie's
a
freaking
month
awful.
ago. No, but you know what I mean? Like I said, yeah, there's or I'm sorry, like Biodome. I'm not watching Biodome with Pauly Shore and
I don't
Stephen
even know what
Baldwin.
it is.
I'm not watching that shit. But you know, I
Oh
feel
my
like
God, okay.
sometimes there's still, you know,
Cameras
stuff
made him brave.
to talk about with other movies.
But I mean, there were aspects of this movie. I don't want to just say, well, this movie just didn't work at all. I mean, there was it had in its best, it had kind of a fun mystery sort of
Yeah.
flavor going through it. You know, where there was, like I said, there were definitely sections in the movie where, you know, it was kind of rolling, and you know, you couldn't help but get, you know, involved, you know, and play that out. So
It had its moments.
yeah,
for
it
sure.
definitely had its moments, for sure. And I thought the cast was good. I thought the kids
Let's talk about the cast.
were really good. I thought everybody was fine.
They were
I
fine.
I never could really wrap my arms around the whole babysitter thing and that whole
That was
relationship.
odd.
It just didn't land for me.
It
It felt so forced.
It was
Yeah,
very
that's
much
that
for
all
like
of a sudden she's like all into the. I mean, it's like I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's
it was-
your fantasy. Yes.
Let me
but that
climb
is
out
not
your
gonna be her
window and-
fantasy.
right. It was very much like I'm 26 years old and I'm sitting in a 14-year-old's bedroom. like,
Yeah,
it's
It
I'll
was-
agree
yeah.
on that.
It just didn't land.
There was no payoff for that
Y-
either.
no.
No,
For
none.
what? And I thought the punk kid, his family drama came out of so left field.
Well, we didn't know anything about it. It was just one.
yeah, and then all of a
one
sudden,
10-second moment.
yeah, it's just like you don't need that.
Yeah.
And it's sort of they all kind of played like a nerdy guy with the glasses didn't have any backstory, but
Mm.
but the heavier set kid had to go home. Mom was on the couch. I'm not really sure
That
what
was
that
sad.
was all about. I was just a drunk. I was trying to.
Mm-hmm.
That or like hooked on pills or
Yeah, there was
something.
some kind of thing, and that was sad.
There's a
And then-
backstory there, that's for sure.
Yeah, but again, not explored.
Not paid off.
No payoff anywhere with it.
Which is fine in some instances, but they brought these up so much in that second half of the movie that you thought that there was going to be more payoff to it, and it's like
It was just a very casual
What's
way
the
to try.
payoff? Your mom's a drunk.
It
Yeah.
was really- it's a very casual way to try to deepen the characters.
Yeah.
And their journey, and it's, you know,
It's-
too,
it
was too
seemed
easy.
it seemed like
It was
two
all
different
very
movies.
cliche
See,
stuff.
Dan, these characters, they're kids, but
Mhm.
deep down they're kind of sad. They have flawed lives. They come off when they hang out. They're all friends when they're together, but when they're on their own, their separate lives, they're very upset.
Hmm.
They're helping each other out by their
Mhm.
friendship.
Mhm. Good, good,
Mm.
good, good. I like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Okay.
That's my Mr. Rogers moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as like the acting and stuff,
It
wasn't
didn't
terrible,
distract me. It didn't distract me at all.
but there was several points where I wasn't sure where the approach was falling.
Mm-hmm.
Was it supposed to be like full on like straight 80s cheese, or was it supposed to be satirizing?
Yeah, I get you. I
That-
understand what you mean.
It was I kind of got caught off guard sometimes with the way that scenes played out or certain lines were delivered.
Yeah. But to me, that's directing and writing.
Yeah,
That
yeah. and-
wasn't
and
the
that-
acting. And I don't think there was any satire in there. I didn't.
No, I don't think so, but I think it's very easy to see where.
It was just,
It's
they were
taking
just,
where
they were
inspiration.
just
Could have taken-
robbing 80s
Oh,
coming of age movies.
And-
Robbing.
And
That whole, you know what I mean? It was just flat out theft.
if you've seen the other film, well, the other one I said, Turbo Kid,
Mm-hmm.
it takes 80s stuff, but it kind of takes more of the 80s kind of action.
I'm going to guess these guys were that age in the 80s.
Yeah, that's where I'm
That
going
would be
with.
my guess.
I think what they're doing is they're kind of just recreating their childhood and
Yeah.
the movies they grew up with, and they're like, hey, we just want to like make these movies and have fun with it. Which
that's cool.
I mean, it's cool. I think it's great.
yeah.
I mean, do what you want to do, write what you. I mean, as long as it's there's an audience for it, and like you can sell it, and it's not just like entertaining for the people behind it.
Yeah.
I will say, hey, yeah, you should always make the stuff, write
That
the
you wanna
stuff
see.
that you want to see.
I think
Yeah.
there's a difference, though, between I want to make movies that I want to see and I want to make the movies I saw. And that's what I feel like this was doing.
And
Yeah.
Which one was it doing?
The second one. I just want to make movies I've already seen versus I want to make movies I want to see. You don't see the difference? There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Because Spielberg always said, I want to make movies that I would want to go see in a theater. He didn't say, I want to go make movies that I've already seen.
Are we talking about Eli Roth?
Right? And that's what this movie, I
Fuck
think,
Eli
is
Roth.
really guilty of. It just looks like a movie they had already seen.
So, do you think they saw that that you can tell where they pulled inspiration from, like in the shots, cinematography, everything? They like took it but you think they didn't like add anything new or add to it. It's just kind of like, oh, I see your inspiration.
I didn't feel anything real fresh in this movie. No.
I gotta agree with that. I think that was one of my main issues, especially in the opening, and then towards the middle. It just felt like it wasn't even like a remix of old movies. It was just, oh, here you go, copy paste.
Yeah, it didn't have that aesthetic of an
Copy
80s.
paste.
And I think I wrote down, it's like, you could tell it's digital and like all that stuff. It didn't
Yeah.
have that analog feel.
Right.
And that's what threw me off too.
So,
But
Because the set dressing and all that stuff worked really well. It's just it didn't have that like final
What?
texture.
Mhm.
I mean, it had almost. It almost had a Hitchcockian sort of style to it, too. A little
Rear window.
window, right? I really thought
100%.
But it didn't play it out.
No.
So
It didn't
what-
play
just
out
comes
the
out
rear
as like a
window.
creepy kid.
what do you?
Yeah, he was kind of like
if you can
a voyeur,
each
man.
name one movie like that you think takes, like what you're saying, like takes inspiration from another movie or a genre or just anything and invents something new with it, like a movie that you think does it correctly. What would you pick off the top of your head?
Of any genre?
Anything, like a movie you're like, oh, I can tell exactly what this movie was.
No,
or
I don't. You have to go first. 'Cause I don't understand what you're talking about.
Like, you know how you're saying like this movie is very clearly like how you were saying,
Like borrowing.
I
It's
mean, you
borrowing
could say
from the 80s.
Disturbia. Disturbia with Shia LaBeouf. Like, they took from Rear Window. So, like, is that what you're talking about?
Or just in general, like just takes a genre. Okay, like for instance, like Hot Fuzz, how it very clearly takes from action movies, cop movies, but it does something fresh with it that works, where it feels like, hey, we're actually telling something new.
Well, they did the same thing with
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
They took a very standard
So you know what,
genre,
Edgar
but they
Wright?
put a really fresh coat of
You're
paint
doing
on
it
it.
right.
Or it's like someone where you can tell, like, hey, they really
All
understand.
right.
All right.
They're not just recreating. They're not just recreating shots or homages. They fully understand the genre.
Yeah, and then they're adding
Their own,
their
their
way
own,
of telling.
They're
telling
adding
the
their own
story.
vision to it.
Right. Because if I give you a 10-sentence storyline idea, say, I just give that to you, and I go do whatever you want to with it, and then I go over and I do what I want to with it. Hopefully, we're going to come back with two very different scripts and two very different, fresh approaches to this idea. Hopefully.
And I remember when Frank and I had just met, we were taking a directing class. And what we did was we did an exercise where it was a very generic conversation between two people, gave zero stage directions, zero anything. Do you remember this, Frank?
I kind of
And
do.
then we had to then direct people and like come up with our own telling of it. And it was cool. I forgot what Frank said, but like it was just really fun. And I agree with Dan. I think, you should, with these ideas, and with these ideas, it's like, yeah, like how are you going to take this but tell it differently? And I think that's how these, storytellers, directors, writers, it's like, well, that's how they stand out from the others.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean,
Because there's only so many stories in the world, right?
there's only so many plot lines, yes. So, at some point, I would like to talk about the third act.
Go
Let's
ahead.
just skip. Yeah.
yeah.
Let's just
So
get
at
to
this
the
point,
end,
it's
'cause
found
everything
out.
else doesn't really.
At this
need a
point,
lot
it's
to
found
say.
out
It
that
kind of
Mackie.
meanders till that point.
Yeah. So Mackie's the killer. It's found out. Do the parents know at this point yet that you
'cause,
want to
they're
talk
at, like,
about?
they're at,
Well,
like- they cover it up,
they-
don't they? No, or something. Remember they're at like the parade or something?
they cover
the fu-
what up?
Never mind. I spoke.
No, you're,
No.
You're. What movie are you talking about?
No. What
No,
I
I
mean.
know
that
what you're
cover-
talking about. You're saying they're trying to they're keeping track of Mackie at the festival.
Yeah.
But then
While-
each one bails out because
because they
they think oh,
that right because all of the
all
tools
that
that he
dirt
bought
that was
Mhm.
all for the garden that
Right.
they
That's what I'm
planted.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
So then you realize, oh, they have nobody watching out for
Right.
them now.
And
But then
then-
that didn't even pay off because
the-
they got out with the camera.
You know
and
what,
showed
though?
What do
them
you
the cow.
mean?
I actually like the reveal of Mackie's phone number. That was cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
no.
was a good review.
That was a really
was a good
cool
one.
Hitchcock kind of moment.
Yeah, and that's
where
when
you
it
went,
kind of
"Ooh."
did a shift from okay, maybe it's gonna
Oh
pick
no!
up.
At that point, you're like, yeah, he's guilty.
Right,
Yeah.
but then it also picked up for me.
Yeah, well, I
But
think
then-
at that point we were kind of like charging at that
Finally,
point.
right.
Charging. The plot was really
Yeah.
moving
and
at that point.
I'm gonna say this, having seen the movie
5 times.
I don't want to even
15
know how many
times.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Here's
Really?
the thing.
Wait, 5 times?
No.
really? Oh.
Here's the thing. So okay, so I've seen the movie in its entirety.
6 times.
Maybe about because I had seen it when it first came out, and then I think I revisited it a little later, and now I've seen it again. But like, it's always on. It was on for a good while on like Shudder TV.
Yeah.
So when sometimes I see bits and pieces. But having seen the movie a couple times, I think I will agree. I think the last act is the best act of the film,
I agree.
and I think that's what made me
It's the most original
want
act.
to, and that's what made me want to rewatch the movie. Was like, hey, like that ending. That was like, in my opinion, Dan, I know you're probably gonna differ. I was like, that ending was super cool. Not super cool, but like it grabbed my attention.
The ending definitely grabs your attention. It's definitely, but it's a wild turn
And-
to the rest of the
and
story.
I think that-
and
Yeah.
the tone of the movie and everything else. It drops in like a boom. It does not fit the rest of the movie.
Okay.
But
in my
I
opinion.
think, okay,
And I'm gonna read to you.
and then
what
we can
Variety
go. We
said
can
about
go
it.
into it. But I think it's just because I think.
Oh, Variety said a lot
do you
about
think?
this movie.
Do you think
What did you
symbolically?
read?
Yeah, I did.
Do you think symbolically because it's kind of like I'll say it, do yours
I
first.
think it's a cool idea.
Okay.
I think the
What
ending is
happens?
cool.
What
it does
happens?
not match
What
the rest
happens,
of the
Dan?
tone of the movie, though. First of all, there's this random running around the woods.
Yeah.
I didn't even get that at all. Why he drove in the woods and then let them out. That didn't make any sense to me. And then what happens is he kills. Sadly, I didn't want anybody of the friends to die. I didn't need that to happen.
And
that
it had to
was
be the
not
chubby kid.
necessary. That moment was not necessary.
No.
We already know he killed all those kids. But anyway, so he kills him. Then he pins Davy down and basically tells him, I'm not going to kill you. I'm just going to be somewhere in the darkness. I'm going to be somewhere around the corner. I'm going to be there for the rest of your life. You're going to wonder where I am and when I'm going to get you. And then he leaves. That's a really cool, creepy idea. And if the rest of the
Right.
movie tone fit that,
Mm-hmm.
I would have been less,
Agreed.
whoa, what is going on here? I don't disagree with it being cool. I just don't think it fit the movie. Let me read what Variety says.
If they were gonna do a twist like that, I feel like it would have been
That's not it,
easier
though.
to wash it down if it happened earlier. Like, say the first act is much the way the rest of the movie is, and then you have that, that tone shift at the end of the first act.
Yeah,
That way, the rest of the movie.
absolutely.
it
It was just so late.
Yeah.
So late in the game to have that.
I don't know if I'm
moment.
talking out of my ass, but
Oh,
I
no,
think
that's all right. Let me look.
I think another.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yeah, there
I
actually
think-
it looks like there is some talking.
I'd like to
back
ask you a few questions. I think it helps. Okay, not helps. I think what that scene does to it, it really, I think the ending's depressing, and I think it really sells the scene at the end when he's like riding his bike home and he sees the aftermath of the neighborhood. That's what happened. It's like, oh, the friend dies, so when he like sees the parents, they're like moving away.
Wait, what are you getting at?
No, I'm just saying that, like, I think
The
tonal,
aftermath? Mm.
yeah, the tonal shift, because I think it's now, and like I said, they could have gone too far. That's why it didn't much. I think, like I said, it's like, when he gives the monologue at the end, where it's like, you don't really know who your neighbors are.
Mhm.
I think it's very much just,
A serial killer
it's
is somebody's
trying-
neighbor.
It's trying to break away from it, maybe like feeling like a movie and being like, no, we want it to feel like more reality, more shocking.
Right, but I think
Hmm.
Acts 1 and 2 didn't support that.
No.
Oh no!
Not at
And
all.
I'm not saying I'm saying that's what I think what their intention
I see.
was.
Okay. What
So
did Variety say?
Variety says this is neither funny nor scary enough to leave a lasting impression. More slowly paced than necessary, and those seeking horror content will find the payoff underwhelming after a protracted, mild build-up. The leisurely progress isn't justified by any well-developed subplots or much suspense. There's never a doubt who the perp is, and apart from a couple of false jump scares, little real peril surfaces until quite late.
Dan, isn't that kind of just what you said?
That is-
All your thoughts on the
That
movie
is
too?
exactly.
Did you write that?
Did Dan
Written
ju-
by Dan
no,
Wilson?
Did
That is
Dan just read that and base all his opinion on the
That is
movie?
exactly. That is exactly what is wrong with
Yeah.
the movie. 100%. And no, I always felt so justified when I read this, because I thought,
You're not
let me
crazy.
see what other people are saying, because I did
That's
not
me.
care for this ending of this movie.
You were
at
like
all.
you were like Leo in Once Upon a Time. Oh. Watching the TV. Never mind.
Wait, what scene? What are you talking about?
Just go.
No.
All right.
It's too.
You
late.
don't get to do that.
It's-
Who's Leo? Who? What? movie?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
And
in Once Upon a Time in
which
Hollywood.
scene?
When he's like when he's feeding his dog and he's watching the TV and he recognizes the
Oh.
person.
That was such
I know.
I don't even
all
remember
of that.
At first, it's Brad Pitt feeding his dog.
Oh no.
Brad
you're
Pitt's the one that
confusing
feeds
it to-
I only saw this movie
Leo
once
was just
now.
smoking and drinking on the couch, and then he saw someone on TV, and that's when he did that.
You know the best scene in that movie?
It's
for me
this. Look, it's
is
it's
the scene
this.
where he's in his trailer and just starts screaming and yelling about his acting. Oh yeah, I love that scene though.
Frank, if I'm being frank.
Yeah,
Okay, show your camera.
the meme scene.
There it is. Great. Now we have to pay for that.
No, you can just cut it.
Okay, so Anybody else have anything they want to add about third act or any part of the movie actually?
So in the movie, it's revealed that Mackey's the killer.
What?
Right. Wait a minute. I should have watched the
Did
whole
we
movie.
watch the same movie?
And then, so Mackey is like the main. What's the main kid's name?
Davey.
Thank you.
Davey.
Matthews.
So then,
Dave Matthews.
so Mackey's Davey's neighbor. They find out that what's his name?
Davey, Mackey,
Mackey.
You need help?
No, I got this.
Officer Mackey.
So then, okay, hold on.
What is it?
Mackey's
from?
Davey's neighbor. Mackey's found out that he's the killer, and then the parents still let Davey sleep.
Yeah. Have you ever had a dream?
Have you
ever had a dream?
He was up in the attic.
Right, but then like if he's on the loose, why would you feel comfortable enough to have your kid still stay at home when it's known that the killer is after the kid, and then having his best friend sleep over? That's two kids you're putting at risk.
You asked some good questions.
That's the
there,
80s
Sam.
for you. That's the 80s.
Why
That's
would-
the answer.
Different time.
Yeah,
different time.
What
back
they
then.
call them? Latchkey kids?
Latchkey kids.
There you
bet.
go. That's why.
I'm just saying that's insane.
I found that odd.
Yeah.
Didn't
And
the
so
dad say he was
casual.
gonna?
Everything was so casual. Well, it's all over now, son. Everything's fine.
Dan, don't touch me.
What did the dad say?
Didn't the dad say he was gonna like keep watch?
Yeah, he's like, I'll be on
And he
first
fell
watch, and then he
asleep.
just
He
did
fell
it.
asleep.
He did a great job, didn't he?
Great job.
He looked
Yeah.
everywhere but up in the attic.
But that was creepy
Where
though,
Chevy
like the
Chase
attic
was
stairs
also
coming
watching
down.
old movies.
It's a cool twist. It also just doesn't make
Any sense?
a lot of sense when
Yeah.
you think about the scenario.
Right.
But I mean, at that point, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you're like, let's just keep it going.
It's more interesting than what I thought they were
Mhm.
gonna do. So I'm like, okay, yeah, just keep it going.
I agree.
All right, what are your final thoughts, Dan?
He's
Really?
like, let's
You
get
want
this
me to
over
go
with.
first. You're definitely going last.
Okay. Or sometimes not at all.
I don't have much more to say about it.
I know. That's why you're going first.
I think I've said everything. At its best, it's sort of a light coming of age murder mystery.
I thought you were gonna be a boy
As one
climbs a
does.
boy
That's-
climbs a tree.
That's kind of what it was at its best.
Mhm.
And that was kind of few and far between, quite frankly. There wasn't a lot of that. But when it was doing that, I thought that's what when the directors and the cast were doing the best of the movie, for sure. I thought the ending just didn't fit at all. Did I think it was a cool idea? Yeah, but I needed a whole movie of that to make that work. So I don't know.
All right, so
I'm gonna give it 2.5 walkie-talkies out of
wow,
5.
what a cliche, what a trope.
Kind of fits the rest of the movie, doesn't it? You
Sure.
could do bags of dirt or whatever that chemical was that decomposes bodies.
Oh, you're talking about
is
Wipeout?
Noah.
All right, and 2.5 is generous. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll go.
You said I'm going last.
I feel like my final thought is pretty much on par with yours. So whatever you said, I said. And then,
All right, what are you giving it?
however, for
Ditto.
me, I felt like they had written the third act first, and then they built on that going backwards.
So
and
they
it
had the
just doesn't-
twist.
That's actually
Yeah.
probably true. I
Right.
didn't even think about
and
that.
it's such a strong. If you isolate it, it's such a strong third act that you.
Yeah.
If you've seen the third act by itself, you're like, oh, I want to watch the whole entire movie.
But you'd think if they'd have come up with that third act first, then the whole tone of the movie would have
Moral of
And
the
that's the and
Well,
that's
do you
gone
my
in
think-
that direction.
right.
Do you think because they wanted to keep that, like, oh, it's a
And
twist,
I
it's
can
dark.
I can
No one's
see
gonna see
that.
it coming. It's gonna be like all over the place.
Oh, I'm so glad there's a camera on you.
Isn't this great, folks?
I feel like that could potentially be it, and it would have been such a good twist in itself, the storytelling, but it faltered. It wasn't strong enough to like.
Faulted.
Okay, sorry.
Faltered. I think that's still.
I know it is.
A word.
And then that was it for me. So I'm gonna give it. I will be generous. I'll give it a 3, but like a barely 2.999.
No, like a 3. You rounded it up to 3.
Yeah, like a 2.999
Like
round up to
the
3.
teacher being nice.
Like, you know what? You've done good the whole summer.
A technicality.
Yeah, I'll bump it up.
You were nice to me that one day.
You got to bump
Yes.
it up.
So that, and then my item would be the adult magazines.
Ew.
You gave it 3 boudoirs out
Boudoir.
of 5.
Boudoir.
Ew.
Fair.
It was either the treehouse or the boudoir.
Ah, the treehouse. The treehouse.
That's gonna be destroyed at the end of summer. So sad.
Kid, you're getting a little too old for that treehouse.
Frank
Ugh.
So French.
and Travis.
Stay tuned.
So you basically said what I wanted to say. So same, but no, I mostly agree with what you guys said. I definitely agree with most of what Variety said.
I thought they
Let's
nailed
have
it.
some variety here.
I think were it not for that final act, I would not have even remembered enough about this movie to talk about it. There's just a lot
That's
of
a good point.
generic, like meandering going on.
Mhm.
I not a lot of payoff, not a lot of character growth or development of any kind.
Agreed.
It was just an odd movie in terms of, and maybe it's because I came in expecting something else, but it didn't deliver on the stuff that I expected it to deliver on. And then what it did give me, I was kind of like not interested in until the ending. I wish we had gotten more of that, because that definitely showed
Agreed.
promise. I do love how dark and realistic the ending is, to a certain extent. But it's definitely a different way of ending this kind of coming of age movie, which I think we should have seen more of leading up to it.
Sure.
But I will also be a little generous because I did enjoy that last
Yeah.
third act and then maybe a little bit of the second act. So I'll give it.
Whoa.
3 awkward babysitter interactions out of 5.
I like that. That actor who played Mackie, so familiar, right?
Return.
Yes.
He was the return.
I don't know what that is.
Huh?
Return of the Mac.
No,
Oh.
did you not recognize him?
He does.
Yeah,
I
I
think
I've
he
seen
does.
him
I
in
think he
stuff.
just has that look. Like he looks like every.
No,
But I
he's
think
been
he's
in,
done
like-
like TV.
He's
and
like
yeah.
very
done stuff, yeah.
secondary.
Yeah, he's like dad
up.
parts.
Yeah.
I look up.
Yeah. Okay, Travis,
Alright.
you're up.
We're gonna do something cool here.
What are we gonna do?
Are we though?
What are you doing?
Dan, I'm not gonna tell you my rating of this movie.
Oh my god.
One day, I'm gonna be hiding. One day, I will tell
He's
you my
doing a
rating
bit.
of this movie.
I know he is. I'm
But
ignoring
today, I will not tell you the rating of this movie. It's gonna be in the shadows. I'm gonna be lingering. I told your friend Frank the rating of the movie, but I'm not gonna tell you.
Okay. All right. I'm creeped out.
Now he's gonna go
And
slice a
that's,
fat
that's,
boy's
That's my
throat.
final thoughts.
And it's
Okay.
not even in the mic, so you got to do it again.
I was in his
He
mind.
was in my mic.
But it was like so far.
That's
I was
not Mike.
sitting
That's
right next to
Dan.
him.
So
Dan.
Travis is passing.
Gave it a 5 out of 5.
He's
Okay.
recusing himself from
Because he doesn't want to be
any
ridiculed.
final
He pleads
thoughts
the third
of
act.
this movie.
The funny thing is, you think I'd have a thought.
He was in the Dava. The Devil Wears Prada. He was the best. He was the friend.
Don't know it.
In the group.
Oh, there
I
we
like
go.
that movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
Join us next week.
this has been fun.
Wait, you're really not giving a rating?
No, I'm not giving a rating.
Why? Because you're ashamed?
No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
What are your final thoughts?
Okay. So my final thoughts. So I gotta put myself
are you
in the
doing it again?
mindset.
Oh, I thought he was
No, I
doing
gotta
it
put
big.
myself in the mindset.
Put yourself in
So-
the 80s.
Yes. Well, my hair's 70s, so I'm not there yet. So like I said, when I first watched this movie, didn't know what it was. Just saw it. So I was like watching this movie. I'm like, okay, cool.
How were the edibles that day? Were they really powerful?
I was like, I'm still on them.
Okay.
Some Stranger
Just wondering.
Days, some
Explains
Stranger
a
Things
lot.
vibes. Like I said, you know me. I've always been like a little bit of a sucker for like the '80s nostalgia, Amblin, Strangers in the Alps.
Stranger danger.
No.
Danger is my business.
I don't know. You know, it's always fun. So for me, I was like, okay, like this might be cool. I'm digging it, but and I think for me, well, I know when the ending happened. Like I said, none of us saw it come. Kind of like when he was talking with the kid at the end and everything. I don't know, for whatever reason, that night or when I was watching it, hit me a little hard. I was like, I was like,
murdered.
whoa, like I was taken back. I was like, that got dark really fast. It's like I didn't see that coming.
Agreed.
So then that's why I told him, like, hey, you got to see this movie.
Told
Then
who?
I think I told people, I don't remember. Like, I was talking about it. I was like, hey, you guys got to see Summer of '84. And then I watched it again for a second time. And I thought, well, maybe it's because I've seen it before. I don't know. It was a little more difficult to watch. And then when I saw it, like, randomly on two pieces on TV, it'd be okay. I don't know. It's a film where just every time I feel like I see it or it comes on, I just get kind of less interested in it. And I think it's just because I really like that last act. So I'm kind of agreeing with like Sam and everything. It's like I feel like they just had this really cool idea for the ending, and they're like, oh, and then they just kind of built the movie around that. But I feel like it didn't 100% work.
It was a little jarring.
Yeah. Because, you know, me, I'm a fan of genre shifts, but like I said, it has to be earlier. Like, for example, like From Dusk Till Dawn, where you had the robbery movie turning to vampire movie.
Yeah, within the first
Within
act.
the first act. It happened really late.
That stuff needs to happen early. I mean,
Like,
you got to set the framework for the audience.
I'd be interested if, like, what if, like, when they first find out, like, oh, he actually might be murdered. What if at that point is just when it got super dark, super gruesome from, like, there and on? Maybe. I'm talking too much.
No,
No,
I
no,
feel like
I-
you need 7 minutes to make it an hour. Go ahead.
think, honestly, I think it needed to be dark from the first frame.
Yeah. Well,
not,
I'm saying
not slowly.
Well, no.
becoming
No,
But
I
I'm
I
agree.
think it
saying
needed
I'm
to
saying
be
I
dark.
think
I
it
think
would have been
something needed to
it
happen in
would've
the
been-
first 2 minutes
I
for us
think
to
it
go,
would have been
oh,
interesting
wow.
if you start it for like, oh, it's an 80s nostalgia fun like kids movie, and then suddenly it turns dark
Within the
that
first
first
act, yeah.
Okay, I mean, I could accept
I think
that
that would work.
possibly.
Set up the 80s trope, do it well, and then switch up the tone so it's bleak.
But I need something to happen in that first act, early in that first act, or midway through at the latest, that you can't take back. You know, that as an audience you saw it, and you can't get you can't. It's like the opening of It, the little kid with the little paper boat,
Yeah.
and the little clown and ripping, and you see the kid's arm. I mean, you need things like that in movies for you to go, oh shit, this is for real.
You need that hook.
This didn't
Yeah.
have any of that.
Move the best friend dying to the first act.
Yeah,
So it affects everybody.
we needed something.
Boom,
for
done.
sure. Yeah,
Roasted.
For sure.
Roasted. Boom.
All right,
Roasted.
Roasted.
So Sam, did you give my rating?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your rating, buddy?
So what do we rate these out of?
5.
Travis,
I know.
you're just stalling.
He's
I'm-
stalling.
Yeah,
'Cause
you
he
said I
ne-
had to
he
make it an
didn't think
hour.
about
No,
it
because
at
you're saying
all.
I had to make this podcast
You're right.
an
You're
hour
right.
long.
Okay, I
right.
retract that statement. Go ahead.
Okay, so I mean, I was trying to
We have
maybe
to make this an hour.
no, I'm trying to get more of like. I think to me now it just falls just in the exact middle, somewhere in the middle.
Okay,
4.
2.5.
Yeah, but
I know
It's
it hurts.
okay.
It hurts, doesn't it?
I
You've
Say
spent
what you-
5 times. You've literally lost 7-8 hours of your life watching
Say
this
what you
movie.
want.
no, I think
And now
We
you're gonna have
won't
to say
I'm
judge
it.
probably just
you
gonna do it safe. I'll give it like a
in
3.
public.
I'll give it like a 3
Great.
out of 5. See, I had an item, and then I like tried to do my whole going into Dan's frame. So I'll give it a 3 out of 5. I'm not gonna tell you what this item is,
Okay.
but one day I'm gonna sneak up and tell you.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm looking at you. When
I
say
don't
that.
either, but you're scaring me.
Okay. What if I
You're
just
scaring me.
see now in this podcast I become a super dark character? I'm shocking now. At the very end. Scary now.
That doesn't work.
You work on that.
Well, I'll work on it for next week where
This has been fun. How do they find us, like us, share us, Frank? What do they do?
You just said it. They like us.
They just go
share us.
anywhere that you can get a podcast.
Yes.
You can find us.
At all the
How do they
major
find us?
podcast
How do they
grocery
find us
stores.
live on camera?
Live journal.
How do they get us on camera though for this?
That's
It's on MySpace.
MySpace. Right on.
You guys
Um,
aren't on my top 8. Sorry.
Is it going to be on
YouTube.
our YouTube channel?
It's going to be on our YouTube.
We'll have some reels on
we'll have some,
Instagram.
Yeah.
We're gonna hype it up.
Yeah.
This
We're
is
gonna-
great.
we're
I
gonna
love
do
it.
some-
Hype
we're
it
gonna
I
do
love
up.
the new format.
Some of these you might have seen before, and then now when you watch the full episode, you'll be like, oh,
That's what they were
that's
mumbling
what
about.
they were talking about.
And write us a review. I want to hear what you people think of our podcast. If you have ideas
Unless
and
you
thoughts,
hate us.
put them out there. I
Unless
don't care.
you hate us, I'm just kidding.
Well, if you hate me, don't write anything. But if it's Travis, unload.
Feel free.
Man,
Unload.
We should do that now. We just read our hate mail.
We could do the top of each one. So what is our movie next week, Frank?
We're continuing the
it's Sam.
We're
Sam, what's our movie
continuing
next week?
No. We're continuing the series.
The series of summer.
What is it called? What's the name of it,
summer.
Sam? What's the name of the series?
Strangers Go to Camp. In our next camping
love it.
trip, we're going to go to Midsommar.
Midsummer. Or Midsummer, as I like to call it.
Well, then
No.
get out.
Have you seen it?
I did in the theater
How many times?
when it came out. One time.
Oh, well.
We're
Really?
doing
That's all?
theatrical cut,
Yeah,
right?
that's all?
Theatrical cut.
Damn.
Is that the one I saw?
No,
Probably.
it's not.
No, the
I-
theatrical one. It's the one you
Oh,
put.
as I said,
I saw it in a
Director's
movie
cut.
theater right
In
when
my
it
mind,
opened.
I wanted
think
to
saw
watch
it
the
open- I
director's
think I
cut.
saw it
Theatrical.
opening weekend, actually.
You saw the theatrical cut then.
okay, so you two watch theatrical, and then Frank and I will watch director's cut.
Yeah. Our
Ay,
good,
ay,
friend,
ay.
our good
Ay, ay.
friend Brian saw it, and this is when we were doing our summer.
Save it for next
and
week.
Brian said, "Oh, I just saw this movie. You should go see it." And I went to see it that
I'm
afternoon.
surprised he actually suggested that movie to you.
I did question a
He
few
may be
things
showing
after I
up.
saw
He
it.
may be showing
Not,
up.
not the ending,
I did,
right? Not
I
the
did
ending.
question some of the Brian's.
He may be showing it up in an episode
Tactics.
this season.
Oh yeah, did he respond? Did he?
He did. He asked what time. And
Nice.
All right,
It's
so
in
you'll be seeing
2
him.
months.
You'll be seeing him in an
No, a
episode.
month.
You don't know when, but he's just gonna show up, and you'll see him.
Oh, he's
He
on.
really
he's
loves
on
that
that.
one.
and
Right
he's
on.
I'm really
on
trying to get
one.
that hour. I'm trying to get that
so
hour.
next week
We
it's,
didn't make it.
it's Midsummer.
Well,
Cool.
see you later.
All right. This has
the
been
show.
Strangers in the Alps, a summer camp,
A camping trip.
a camping trip.
I hope you fall.
It's been fun, but I would like to say thank you for joining us. My name is Dan,
I'm Travis.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Frank.
and we are
Strangers.
Closeted.
out.
That's true.